listening to the Patriot Nation Podcast.
Right, welcome into another edition of the Patriot Nation Podcast. As always, your guy, Pat Lane, here with my man, Matt St. Jean. And tonight we're joined by a very special guest. We have Daniel Harms here, a scout from the Draft Network, talking draft, of course. Daniel, thanks so much for coming onto the show. We appreciate you being here.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. Finally got to come on with you guys, and I'm very excited to talk about this. Not only because I look forward to what the Chiefs, I'm just so used to saying Chiefs. My apologies. I cover the Chiefs. So I look forward to seeing what the Patriots do with Mike Vrabel in-house. I was hoping to get this hire last year, and now we finally get to see it this year. So that part I'm very excited to see.
Yes, we appreciate that, and we will forgive the Patrick Mahomes,
Freudian slip
in the background. Well, you also got the Chiefs, poster on the background. We'll forgive it. It's okay. It's all right. People like who they like, and we don't mind.
The 2018 AFC Championship games a while ago now.
That's correct.
Yeah. We just washed that out. That doesn't matter anymore.
Right. First of all, the madness. Before we get into football, the madness this weekend. Not much madness this weekend, but I had a bad beat that I just wanted to share with the two of you. I don't know if either of you are gamblers, but the baddest of the bad beats that I've had, I had, it sounds so foolish, but I had the under 70.5 first half total for Alabama St. Mary's. Alabama went crazy at the end of the half. I don't know if you saw that. I don't know if either of you saw this or not. Alabama went crazy in the last 8 minutes of the half, scored a ton of points. They were at 70 total points. There was a shooting foul on St. Mary's. The Alabama guy gets the line, shooting 2. Clanks the first one. I'm like, oh my God, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. It's going to hit. Clanks the second one. St. Mary's grabs the rebound. All of a sudden, the whistle. I'm like, what? Lane violation on St. Mary's on the second shot.
No.
A lane violation in college basketball? When's the last time you saw someone do that?
Well, ACC game, the ACC tournament, UNC versus Duke. UNC lost the game on one of those. That's two of
complete insanity. So, of course, the Alabama guy gets the ball, buries it, 71. I lose by. I'm like, you got to be kidding. Oh, God. I was so mad. So there you go. There's your bad beat for the
That's awful. I'm so sorry. 1 point.
That's just
half a point. Sorry, not even one half. Oh,
yeah. And the thing was that I'm sitting there going, "There's no way it's ever going to hit. There's no way. Scoring 1 million points. There's no way it's going to hit." And then he gets to the free throw line, shooting 2 at 70. I'm like, "All right, we're done." And then he misses both, and I'm like, "I can't believe I won it." And then it's a lane violation. I was like, "That's crazy." So that was my madness of the weekend. There wasn't much madness for the weekend, but that was my madness of the weekend. And bad beat.
Did you guys do brackets? Are they in decent shape?
So I used to do brackets until 3 years ago, and then I stopped, and I feel so much better about watching March Madness now. I don't have to root for things. I don't have to. I can just watch it, and I've just become so much more. It's become so much more enjoyable for me. So I definitely stopped doing that a little while ago.
I have a bracket. I think I have 2 brackets. I don't really know exactly what they all are. I know who my winners are, but I don't really know. I didn't mix it up as much as I probably should have. But I'm in a square. I think I told you about this, Matt. I'm in a square pool. It's like a Super Bowl square, but it's for the tournament, and it's every single game. And that's a lot of fun. So I pay attention to that more than I pay attention to the actual bracket. But my bracket's fine, I suppose, but it's really not. I had UNC in the Sweet 16. I had UC San Diego in the Sweet 16. So I got 10 out of. I think I have 10 out of 16 teams in the Sweet 16, which isn't bad, but it's who knows?
Yeah, I liked my bracket, and the second that it's clear that my bracket's not going to win, I'll just start intentionally rooting against it. Because all right, let's just go full chaos. If I'm not winning this, then let's see the most insane.
Yeah.
Which, of course, this year it's been just all the power conference teams. It's been a good year
Yeah.
for those teams. So
I mean,
I think-
Arkansas is the biggest Cinderella, and it's Arkansas with John Calipari. Like, it's really not. It's really not
exactly.
we
an
should have
underdog.
really good games next weekend.
I agree.
All of these teams are really good now. There's no Cinderellas here. There's no mid-major teams. Like, it's all just really high talent teams. So
Yeah, should be
good
fun.
games.
Should be fun.
It isn't high talent or fun these days, Pat.
The New England Patriots. That's what a great segue. The New England Patriots, just golly, not a lot of talent, not a lot of fun the last few years. But they did some rebuilding, and I thought, you wrote an article, Daniel. We kind of mentioned it on the Draft Network. You wrote a rebuild article about how it does take a long time. And it's kind of in the process now, of course, but it's different eyes on the rebuild. Mike Vrabel is kind of that guy. And as much as Ellie Wolf's still here, I think Mike Vrabel's pulling the strings. But I do think, I'm just curious about your thoughts before we get into the draft about how the Patriots have tried to rebuild, starting with free agency. Of course, they really haven't made any trades yet, but starting with free agency, how do you feel like they've done it? How do you feel like they've done starting this rebuild off?
So when you listen to Mike Vrabel talk, it all makes sense, right? He's got a clear vision for what he wants to do. And I think that one of the more underrated parts, I mean, probably more of a microcosm, the Patriots group, you guys, the fans probably understand it a lot more, but the national media, him spending that time in Cleveland wasn't just time wasted, right? He was paying attention to the offensive side of the ball. Like, everyone kind of knows him for the defensive side stuff, for special teams, the mentality of football, just that grinding mentality. But getting to pay attention to how Kevin Stefanski works with the offense, I think, is a really important and integral part, because we talk about how Dan Campbell, right, is like in the same sect of Mike Vrabel in terms of their culture guys. They want to make your team believe in you and play hard. But Dan Campbell learned a ton of offensive football with the New Orleans Saints. And so I think Vrabel, not because of Dan Campbell, but because he understood that if he's going to go do this, be with the Cleveland Browns, paying more attention to the offensive side of the football can help him have better understanding of using resource allocation properly on the offensive side. You have a young 100% the guy quarterback. So now he's going to have an idea. Granted, he also got to watch Drake May last year play, so he's paying attention to what he's doing with Cleveland, paying attention to the Patriots, probably has a little bit of an eye over there on what's going on, because he wants to end up in New England, obviously. So I think that just trying to do what they can in free agency, you've seen throwing some money around, trying to make some things happen, bringing in a guy like Milton Williams. We're trying to swing for the fences. And one of the quotes that he had at the combine was saying, we're trying to show everyone in the free agency that we have opportunity, we have money. What was $126 million in cap space that they had to just kind of, we've got opportunity because we're not a very talented football team, and we have the resources to pay guys like Milton Williams to come in and structurally and culturally redistribute our organization here. So trying to get those floor pieces so you can, at 4, say, we can legitimately take the best player available, as Elliot Wolf has said, is one of the, I guess, starting points for that free agency market. So I'm pretty happy just on the outside looking in at what they've done to get at least what I expect to be a competitive team on the field as of right now, and then we'll see what happens with the draft.
It's really funny to hear you talk about him going to the Browns and then just like learning the offense there.
I know, right? It's fun.
Especially when you throw the phrase resource allocation in there, which funny, like the Browns have kind of done things like outside of the Deshaun Watson, everything. A lot of what they've done has been good. But when you've got that sitting in the middle, there's only so much
I personally just ignore that. Like, it doesn't happen. I just don't take it into consideration anymore. I just ignored it for so long now.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, you almost kind of have to. I mean, it's such an outlier. It's one of the worst moves in NFL history, right? I mean, you look at how much they gave up for him, and the fact that Baker Mayfield just got paid and is a legitimately good NFL quarterback. They traded it, they let him go for nothing and traded 1 billion picks to get this guy and paid him an insane amount of money. And he, not only is he a terrible person, he can't even get on the field. And when he gets on the field, he's awful.
No.
So
he can't stay on the field too.
Right.
Because injured himself again or whatever it is going on with the Achilles.
Yeah, it's wild. It's wild.
Yeah.
So
You do mention best player in the draft. I'm curious to see, the attention now with Milton Williams and all that done, free agency done, we assume for the most part. Number 4 pick in the draft. This is the big asset when you're coming in. I feel like the 4 options that the Patriots fans have landed on here, it's Travis Hunter, it's Abdul Carter, Will Campbell, Armand Membu.
Mm-hmm.
I think before we get into it, are there any other names the Patriots should be considering with this pick?
I don't think so. I think those are the names, unless again, of course, you possibly trade down. I don't think that's going to happen. But in the scenario where Shedeur Sanders doesn't go 3 to the Giants, which we have started to hear more and more rumors about that becoming the case at this point, you start to, if he's on the board, maybe a team comes up, but with the Raiders kind of putting themselves out of that, it doesn't really seem likely that they're going to be in a situation to trade down. So I think that those 4 players make the most sense. I don't even know if Will Campbell's in consideration for this pick at this point. And that's not because I don't love Will Campbell. I love Will Campbell. I think he's a fantastic player. I'm more trying to project true tackle for what these teams value. And I think that he can play tackle. It's not going to be his best position. And I think the team that drafts him is going to say, we think you probably can play tackle, but you're going to be an all-pro guard. And I think that's probably what you end up seeing there. So I would probably take him off the board for the Patriots, but it wouldn't shock me if they ended up taking him with that pick.
yeah, if you had the number 1 pick, you were the Tennessee Titans, or let's say hypothetically the Patriots had lost the last game of the season, right? And they had the number 1 pick. Obviously, don't need a quarterback. You're drafting number 1. You're in the war room. They go to you. They say, "All right, Harms, who are you taking? Who's the guy you're taking number 1 overall?" Again, assuming you don't need a quarterback.
It's going to be Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter's the best player in this draft. I'd take him at 1. I'd take him at 2, 3, or 4. In this situation, it feels like he's going to be there at 4. And I know everyone wants to play him at corner. I do too. When I watch Travis Hunter, he's my wide receiver 1 in this class, and I think it's not close for me. I don't believe it's close. He reminds me of Justin Jefferson. I'm going to say that right now. He reminds me of Justin Jefferson.
The way his body moves is the same. And especially, I forget who it was. I think it was Scout D on Twitter had clipped it up. And there's one clip, one where he's running the slant in the end zone. And he just runs away from the guy. And I was like, everything about this looks like the way Justin Jefferson moves on the football field.
The only difference that he has is that play strength-wise, he's better than Travis Hunter playing through the route. And then his release package is a little bit more defined. He got to play in practice against Derek Stingley. Right. You're going to be pretty good against press coverage. I think that's the real big area where Travis can actually become a top 10 receiver in the NFL, is if he exemplifies and widens that release package. But we know he has the ball skills. Like that's never been a question. Everyone's like, yeah, he's going to just make tons of interceptions or just tons of crazy touchdown catches. He's really good. And then the yards after catch stuff, he's already walking into the NFL. He's going to be at a top 15 yards after the catch player in the NFL. This field vision. And again, we can take this right back to the corner. He's a fantastic zone corner. He feels space. He where the routes are going to where they're going to be, and how he can get himself into that space. And he just uses that to play wide receiver. He sees everything on the offensive side, on the defensive side with his eyes, and he can see all that space. So getting into space with hands, with acceleration, burst, speed. I mean, I don't know. I don't care where you play him. But when if you're the Patriots drafting him at 1, 4, wherever it is in this situation, pairing him with Drake May is like the vision. It's the vision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't. Yeah.
Yeah. You talk about the catch radius too. That's when you've got a young quarterback, the thing you want is either a guy with a big catch radius so you can just throw it up to and he's going to make the play, or somebody who separates like crazy. I mean, Hunter does both, but I think May's maybe his biggest issue technically is his accuracy. I think it's always been a little bit overblown how much of an issue it is, but he'll balls every once in a while. And if you got a guy who can erase that, well, that makes life so much easier.
Yeah, I just think I'm 100% on board with you. I just think Travis Hunter and listen, obviously what he does on defense and on offense is outrageous and is like nothing we've ever seen before, right? To a level that we've never seen it, right? The guy's playing 120 snaps a game. It's unheard of, right? And he can't. I don't want to say he can't do that in the NFL because maybe he can, but if I would assume the Patriots aren't going to allow him to do that in the NFL, at least to begin with, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that, I love the idea of putting him at wide receiver. Now, my question to you, because this relates into the mock that you did for the Draft Network, I believe it was your newest one. Was it last week? I think
It's today.
Today. Oh, well, look at that. How about that? You had Abdul Carter going number 2,
Mm-hmm.
and then the 2 quarterbacks going 1 and 3, and then Travis going number 3 to number 4 to the Patriots. I guess my question is, why is Cleveland not taking Travis Hunter and they're taking Abdul Carter when they just paid a record deal for Myles Garrett? Now you make the edge? I mean, your pass rush is outrageous if you have Abdul Carter and Myles Garrett. But do you think that the asset would be better used to get a guy like Hunter as opposed to Carter?
It's possible. I mean, there's never anything ruled out in situations like this, especially when a draft like this. And if you believe that Travis Hunter is the best player in the draft, you're going to take him. I think stylistically, he probably fits best there at corner, and they have a lot invested, obviously, with Ward already there. And I do think that overall, Jerry Jeudy is probably going to be at his best there too. Like that's stylistically they play. I'm not going to say that they're the same player, but yards after catch stuff, I think you obviously go to Hunter, but in a perfect world, Jerry Jeudy developed into what Travis Hunter kind of looks like right now. I don't know what the plan is for Cleveland. I'll be very honest with you. I've got no idea considering all the money they've sunk into Garrett and the quarterback that shall not be named. But overall, it's not something that would shock me. I think pairing Carter with Myles Garrett is one of the more fun things to do personally. Like it's just it's a lot of fun. And there are some picks in my mock draft where I'm just like, this is fun. I'm going to do this. I like it. We're still, like I think I put Mason Graham with the Raiders. Like that's just fun. That's just a lot of fun to think, oh, Mason Graham with Christian Wilkins and Max Crosby. And honestly, Malcolm Kuntz was an up and coming guy last year. He's been getting better for them. So, and then you also just have so much fun. So I think that the pairing of Carter in that defense with Garrett makes a lot of sense. But again, it wouldn't shock me if they took Travis Hunter and said, look, best player on the board.
He's the best player.
We need a quarterback, but we're not in the position structurally to maybe draft one of these guys.
So let's say they do take Hunter at 2, or he comes off the board at 1 or 3 or wherever. Abdul Carter drops to 4. Is that going to be your pick if you're New England then? Absolutely.
I think you run to the table if you get either of those guys, if they're there. Again, if quarterbacks don't go and then those guys go, you're like, well, what are we going to do now? Like that's kind of the situation. But I think we are settling on quarterback, at least both of those guys being taken in the first 4 picks, and whoever it is, Hunter or Carter, I think you just kind of run to the table and draft those guys because they are still legitimate blue chip and 2 of the only real, I believe, can't miss prospects in this class.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I am curious. You talk about the quarterbacks. I think there's been a lot. It seems in the last week or 2, the winds have changed where it feels like, okay, like post free agency, it's all right. There's going to be 2 quarterbacks going in the top 3. If you were the GM of the first 3 teams here, you're making the first 3 picks for each of these teams. Like, would you actually have 2 quarterbacks coming off, or is it going to be Cam Ward and Hunter and Carter, or are you just skipping quarterback altogether for these guys?
So I've actually thought a lot about this, and because I personally have Shedeur as like the 1A over Cam Ward.
Okay.
Because of the teams that need a quarterback, cold weather plays a part in this decision as well. Sure. Shedeur does not have the arm talent, in my opinion, to play in New York, to play in Cleveland, in the cold. It does impact when you can't put the revolutions, the velocity on the football like Cam Ward can. And again, I have them, they're very close. So you have Ward over Shedeur, I'm not going to argue it. I completely understand it. And I think both of them are underrated at this point. I think that people over project the Cam Ward inaccuracy, hero ball stuff. I always go back and I watch his tape and I'm just like, this offense is it's awful. It's a terrible offense that they ran at Miami and tons of RPOs. But when did he ever have defensive help? How many times was he playing Superman and he had to go put up 50 plus points a game? So when all you've done your entire career going from Incarnate World, and trying to get to where he is now is play hero ball. It's hard to get rid of. But there was a game against Cal earlier in the season where he was playing hero ball, came to the sideline, and he talked with, I believe, his quarterback coach or his offensive coordinator, one of the two, and they calmed him down. And then from then on, you saw the distributor, the guy that just went out there, made the right play. And then after the game, he talked about that specifically. So there's a lot of coachability aspect to Cam Ward, but if I'm looking at this through GM's eyes and I'm looking at these teams with the cold weather, I would not have Shedeur Sanders on my list in the first 4 picks because I don't think that his style of play translates the best to those environments. Tennessee, maybe a little bit more. And honestly, if you look at what Callahan did in Cincinnati with Jake Browning, like that's kind of, and Joe Burrow to an extent, Shedeur kind of fits that offense and that stylistic a little bit better than Cam Ward, but physically it makes a lot of sense. So I think I from a tools perspective and the cold weather, I think that Cam would be the guy in that top 4 to look at.
Interesting. All right, here's the question that all the Patriots fans want to know. So this is the question we're going to ask. Let's say only one of those quarterbacks go in the top 3.
Okay.
Hunter and Carter off the board. Patriots are at 4. Right? Option number 1. So then here, I want you to just rank these options. Okay? Trade back and draft whomever. Trade back in the top 10, let's say, and draft whomever. Draft Armand Membu or draft someone else, whomever else. How are you ranking those 3 options?
All right. So personally, I'm ranking trade back as number 1 because I think you might find a team that tries to go and get one of those quarterbacks. I think you can probably make something happen. So I think getting a lot, and there's a lot of ideas about how this draft class is, picks 10, 15 on some people's boards all the way down to 50 might have a lot relatively the same grade. So I like the idea of trying to accumulate as much talent from that range that you can. And so I think that would rank that 1. Membo would be number 2. And that's because I do believe he can play left tackle. I believe he can play left tackle, but even if he can't, he plays just right. That guy is the right tackle versus left tackle stuff anymore. I don't care.
Right.
I really don't care. The talent level. You got TJ Watt playing against right tackles all the time. Like the level of talent that we're seeing in the NFL, it kind of is starting to override some of the past ideas that we've had about left tackle being the most important. Obviously it's the blind side, but the talent for both, right, is starting to really level out. So that would be how I situate that. And then taking, whoever else it is would be the third situation.
All right.
If we're talking about, the field there of other guys the Patriots could pick, and let's say they trade back and it's with, I don't know, they trade back but stay in the top 10. So you're working with roughly the same cast of characters here. Is there anybody in that next tier prospects that's like, I really like this as the Patriots fit, or that stands out to you?
Not like just jumps out at me. You guys wouldn't have a bit better of an idea for that specifically, but in pure terms of, we talked about Will Campbell. He stylistically, playing makes a lot of sense because he's just a really good football player, and you want to get good football players on your team. But I'm still a big Ted McMillan fan. Okay, I still love him. I actually just broke his film down on the Draft Network YouTube page last week. From a timing perspective, we talk about, you were just mentioning Drake's inaccuracies at times. When you trust in the offense, when you trust in the players to be in the right spot, that can also improve your accuracy because you're like, okay, he's going to be there. And I can actually just let it rip. And Tet's one of those guys that plays with fantastic timing, footwork, and he's not explosive. He's not the best yards after catch guy, but he does fit and mesh well with Drake too, because he's going to go downfield and make contested catches. And if he's single covered, Drake's probably going to take some shots down to him, and he's going to come up with some of those a lot as well. So I like that if you're trading down, but we talked about, wanting to stay if they do stay in this range. I do think it's a little high for Tet to go in the top 5 personally, but it's a good fit, I think, with timing and having a trusted target as well as his downfield stuff. But there's no one else that really jumps out to me.
Yeah. I mean, just one of the teams that I've looked at, right, is New Orleans at number 9. I think they make a lot of sense to kind of move up and take a guy if there's a guy sitting there, right? Outside of New Orleans, I mean, I don't even know. You're going to I honestly couldn't even tell you, right? Because we're coming back. I mean, I guess maybe Pittsburgh, but that's 21. Like, they're going to have to give up a boatload to get up all the way up to 4. Maybe you could make the argument about Vegas because, I mean, I know they just traded for Geno Smith, but he's a little bit older, right? And so, but like, to give up what you're going to have to give up to go up those 2 spots to take him, I don't know if it's worth it. So,
would Seattle maybe, and now they have the extra ammo from the DK trade to make a move up, but like, that seems like a team that's just going to take a quarterback in like the 2nd round and take some of the second tier of guys.
Because Darnold is one of those guys. I mean, Darnold's on basically what amounts to a 1-year deal, right? And so if he doesn't play well, they can cut bait and go with the young guy. But I don't think they're going to want to, kind of invest in it. So anyways, New Orleans to me makes the most sense. That's 9, right? And so maybe you're getting a Tet there. Maybe you're getting a Will Campbell there, right? And I would feel a lot better about Will Campbell at number 9 than I would about him at number 4. And so I think I'm with you 100%. I feel like if those guys aren't there, the first thing for me to do would be to trade down and then just kind of see what's going on. Boss GM points out maybe San Francisco. I think that's also a possibility that they're at 11. There's a chance that instead of paying Brock Purdy that they try to take a quarterback. But again, I don't know how willing they're going to be to do that.
He just got his guy too, and Mac Jones. So I mean, it doesn't. It's all out the window for him.
Great point.
It was so funny to see that come full circle, man. From the 2021 draft rumors all the way to that moment is fantastic.
It's wild.
It's wild. I have a question. At what point in this, if the Patriots are trading back, do you start to consider Kelvin Banks or Josh Simmons or other options like that at tackle?
Simmons is tough. I'm actually breaking him down for the Chiefs YouTube page that I work for. I'm going to be doing it on Wednesday. If he was ready to go for the start of the season, I mean, you can project that. I think he's clearly the pick for me, honestly. I'll be very honest with you. I would even think about at 5 if you don't get one of those guys. I am that confident that he's a very good player. And I think that he's one of the only true left tackles. I don't care about his 33-inch arms. He uses the length well. When you have 33 or maybe just under 34-inch arms, it's all about how you utilize it. If you consistently let guys into your chest and you don't know how to use your arms to stab, to feign, to do something with them, it doesn't matter. You can have 34-inch arms. If you don't have to use them, it really doesn't matter. So that's why when we talk about the Will Campbell stuff, he knows how to use his length. He uses it well. He doesn't have a lot of it, but he knows how. And that's the difference. So I still think that Josh Simmons is going to be an excellent player. These foot injuries can be tricky. And that's why you're seeing him fall down the board. Banks, I'm still pretty high on. I like him in the top 20 of this class. I like him. And that's where you're talking about, again, if you drop down to 9, 10, 11 area, he's fully in play for me. I love the upside as a pass protector as well. We know he's going to be an excellent run blocker day one. He's going to come in. You can do pretty much whatever you want to with him. You can pull him. You can run outside zone with him as a backside blocker or as a front side blocker. You can do all of those things. So he's definitely still growing as a pass protector. He has that soft shoulder that we talk about. You give up some of the pressures around the edge a little bit too much. Footwork, hand usage can really help that out. It's going to take some time to do as well. So those guys, I think, again, if Josh Simmons was healthy, he'd be the other option at 5 if those 2 other players aren't there. Kelvin, more around the 10-11 spot for me.
Yeah, interesting.
Simmons is such a fascinating prospect. Like he could go anywhere. He's the type of guy who the Patriots could pick in the first round or who could still be on the board when they pick in the second round, depending on how these medicals come back. He's ahead of schedule, like they say, too. Then that's becomes a very interesting discussion, which is funny because we spent all the regular season on this podcast with the whole comment section being Campbell or Banks, Campbell or Banks, Campbell or Banks. You might get to 4. You're still going to be a tackle discussion, and neither one of those guys is in it.
Yeah. Very true. I have a feeling we might be talking about Josh Simmons a little bit later on this week, Matt. Not to tease out my mock draft coming out this week, but I have a feeling we might be talking about Josh Simmons a little bit later on this week. All right, so a few things that we want to kind of hit on. Who are a few guys that we're too high on right now? That as a draft community, we're just like people are propping guys up. And then we'll give you a too low as well. I don't know if you want to work that in, but who are some of the guys that we're just way too high on right now?
People are going to hate me, but I don't really care. Ashton Genty. And it's no
Ooh.
disrespect. Like, I like Genty. Omarion Hampton's my RB1. I think one of the things when I went back and I watched Genty's tape is between the tackles, he's awesome. When we insert traffic in the backfield, he does not have the reacceleration or the short area quickness to make guys miss. He goes down behind the line too often, and then when he's asked to stretch the runs outside, you don't see that curvilinear acceleration. He has to get up to speed to use his best traits. Like that's not a problem. Like, you still have some of that burst there where he can do it, but when asked to utilize his outside, get the ball to the outside, typically he will not stretch runs to the outside. He'll take them where he's more comfortable, where he can get linear and get upfield quicker.
That sounds like you're describing LeGarrette Blount almost to a degree.
To an extent. Yes.
Yeah.
More better, but
obviously a bit better. And he's going to have a better NFL career most likely too. But LeGarrette Blount was not an unuseful player by any stretch.
Has the Patriots record for rushing touchdowns in a season.
Yeah. He's obviously going to be much better than LeGarrette Blount was. But like, you look at Leonard Fournette's career, like, that's not outside of the realm of possibilities in my mind, maybe a little bit longer, but he's got tons and tons and tons of carries already on the resume.
Right.
That tread doesn't just go away. As we know, for running backs, it doesn't just go away. So I love Ashton Genty. I think the workload on top of some of the athletic concerns behind the line of scrimmage, I don't have really many when he gets into space outside of the top speed. I think that he's more of going to run guys over than make guys miss. You might see that turn into more tackles in the NFL, but at the end of the day, he's still going to break a ton of them. So overall, I'm a little bit lower than the natural consensus on Ashton Genty.
I love it. What a blazing hot take. I'm a fan of that.
Yeah, that's great.
All right, and then who are we too low on? Who are we sleeping on that you're like, oh, this guy is way better than people are saying?
Don't be afraid to get like deep with this too.
Yeah,
Pull
so
some names out.
Let me actually go into my scouting grades, because this makes it a little bit easier for me to project some. Like, I've got some mild takes. Like, there's one I'll just give you guys. I would draft Jalen Royals over any receiver not named Travis Hunter and Tedero McMillan.
Love
Jalen Royals.
He's a big dude. Yeah.
I would do it. So there's that. Who do I have down here with pretty good grades? So okay, here's one. Cody Simon, linebacker out of Ohio State. No one's talking about Cody Simon.
I had him. I discovered him. I was doing a mock draft, and I like pulled up a little bit of film, looked at a couple of PFF grades, and I was like, "How is this dude like projected 7th rounder right now?"
I have no idea. He's easy a day 2. I would draft him on day 2 and just profit. He's got tons of football IQ. He's a really underrated athlete. He's good in space. He gets eyes on the quarterback. He has a good feel for zone. You also, with his size, can play him against tight ends. He's not going to back down. He's uber physical. He tackles very, very well. So no one is talking about this guy, but he's probably should be drafted on day 2 and will be a starter in the league for a long time.
I like that.
That's a great poll too for this, because that's an Ohio State linebacker.
Yeah.
Patriots have been, I mean, they've added a lot of linebackers, so who knows if that room is full, but like I could see Mike Vrabel seeing that guy and saying, that is what I want a Patriot to be. And when I coach this team, we are picking him.
Yeah, I'm a fan of that. All right, fan of that. All right, you want to play our little oh, by the way, Xavier Restrepo, 4.83 today.
Yeah.
What in the world? Do you see that on film? Because I don't see that on film. I don't
No.
understand how in the world he ran a 4.83 today.
I don't see it on film, and I don't care, honestly. Like the 40 time is whatever. Like it's not a great number to have on. The problem is that it goes on record.
Right.
If these didn't go on record, then no one would care. But they do go on record. It's not a great number to see out there. 4.84. He doesn't. Even if he ran a 4.65, that's not where he wins. He's not a blazer down the field. Like he's got excellent body control, ball skills. He doesn't have to be uncovered to win downfield. Like he's always kind of struggled with man coverage in the short area, but he's a zone possession slot receiver, physical. Like I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah.
It's just you never want to be the GM that drafted a guy who had that 40, and then if the receiver doesn't work out, that's what everyone's going to point to.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's where, the job becomes the mix of, building a good football team, but also how do I save my own skin running the team. That's where those two meet.
Yeah. Well, and that gets into the conversation of the top three of guys taking quarterbacks because they just they have to. The Giants have to take a quarterback. You just feel like that they have to save their job, right? And so it's
that's the way the league works.
All right, let's get into. We have a little value game for you, okay? So kind of would you rather, okay? So would you rather Cam Scatterbo in the third or Dylan Sampson in the fourth?
Dylan Sampson in the fourth.
All right,
no hesitation.
Yeah, and by these rounds, I took everything from the mock draft database from what they have right now for the consensus big board. So that's where the values are coming. Which I feel like we're gonna get some big changes on that between now and draft day.
Yeah, which by the way they do update them. I don't know if they update them daily or if they update them weekly, but I will say I'm working on a mock draft as I just kind of said, and people should know that anyways. And I had a guy listed, wrote down his number. Went to go look at it, and I'm like, wait, where is he? And he was like 7 spots down from where he was yesterday. So they may have updated it. Who knows when they update it, but nevertheless. All right, Jaden Higgins in the second or Jalen Noel in the third?
Jalen Noel in the third.
Okay. All right.
Which I was surprised to see him that low in the consensus stuff right now because I feel like I feel like he's a guy that's going to go top 50.
I think Noel's better than Higgins. Like at least a tier better. And I like Higgins. I like Higgins a lot, but Noel offers a lot more NFL versatility in my mind.
All right. I like that.
The debate between those two reminds me a little bit of the Jalen McMillan, Jalen Polk stuff from last year. Where it's just
fair.
Two different wide receivers, different skill sets who project differently into the NFL. And like I liked Polk. I liked McMillan more. And,
I did too.
Maybe we'll pick the right one this time because we did not pick the right one last year. All right, Harold Fannin in the third or Gunnar Helm in the fourth?
Can I pick neither?
Yes, you can. Option C.
Neither. I don't like either of them. But if I do have to pick one, it's Gunnar Helm in the fourth. I actually started the season quite high on Harold Fannin, and then I got more into the film, and I saw him in person in Mobile, and I'm just like, dropping him down. I probably wouldn't take him to the fifth round. I just don't. I can't get there with him anymore. Seeing him in person, seeing the size, and he's basically like an H-back.
Yeah, and he's not athletic enough to be that in the NFL. I don't think.
No,
I agree. Yeah.
So if you can't take either of those guys in that range, is there a tight end in that range you do like?
Oh, there's tons of tight ends that I like. Again, let me just go back here real quick. Where do I have these guys? Jalen Connors is not bad. I like Jalen Connors out of Texas Tech. He's a versatile player. There's
some off-field issues with.
Is there?
Conyers. I think so.
Interesting. I didn't know that. Okay. I have another one for you. Thomas Fedone, the tight end out of Nebraska. I know. When you watch him on tape, it looks like there's something weird going on with his shoulder pads, like he's just stiff. I think it's wasted movement. I don't think he's a bad athlete, but he's a guy that I think runs better routes, has better yards after catch ability than both of those players, and he's not uber stiff. I like him.
All right. I like that. All right.
I don't think that's a name that's been said on this podcast yet.
It has not been. And so there we go. New people out there. I love it. All right. Ariantari, God damn it. Ursary in the second or Ozzy Trapillo in the fourth.
Oh, give me Ursary in the second. I have a first round. Like I would take him in the first round on Ursary. I love him.
All right. Well, there you go. How do you feel about Trapillo?
Big man doesn't move very well. I didn't like him at the Senior Bowl either. And when you're that big, if you're not going to at least be able to get to your spot first to get yourself in the way, I think it's going to be a big problem in the NFL.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Bill O'Brien was glowing in his praise of Trapillo today. Yeah, as he should be. But I know a lot of Patriots fans really like him because of that connection.
Yeah, and went to BC High. He's from around here. Like, I get it. His dad went to BC, everything else. I understand all that. All right, Nick Scorton in the second or Jared Ivey in the fourth?
Jared Ivey in the fourth. Like, that's extremely good value. I think Ivey is getting really underrated. There's still some athletic upside there, but the speed to power initial moves from him with the length, I think he's a very good floor player as well. Where you see Scorton as the guy who's maybe getting the better floor, I think you have relatively same floors for both of those guys in the NFL.
All right, I like it.
I like it. Ivey was one of those guys. I saw where he was on the consensus boards, and then I looked at the tape and I looked at the PFF profile, and I was like, the stats, some other people's analysis, and I was just like, how does this keep coming up as like third round grade, fourth round grade? Like I just don't like this. Seems like a easy top 75 guy to me.
I'm with you.
All right, I'm in with it. All right, two more. Darian Porter in the third or Denzel Burke in the fourth?
Darian Porter. I'm not a Burke guy, and Porter is just a freak. I love watching that guy play.
Yeah, he's a fun watch.
Yeah,
I like that. All right, last one. Andrew Mubuka in the third or Jonas Sanker in the fifth?
Probably. Was it Mbuka? Yeah, probably Mbuka in the third. The football IQ stuff, the speed, the versatility. He can't tackle. He can't tackle, which is not a great thing you want to have for a guy who's back there as the last line of resort or last line of defense. But he contributes so well. I think he sees things that half second early to trigger on throws that he might be able to make up for some of that.
All right, let me ask you about a guy that we haven't, another safety in the fifth round over Jonas Sanker, Caleb Ransaw from Tulane.
So when I watched, actually, I did the report on Ransaw. It was tough to find games where he wasn't like a forced defender against the run. Like seeing him actually in space, I don't believe he's the player that he tested at either. So I'm not sold on that. I was shocked to see the numbers.
The numbers were wild.
Yeah. But I do think if you're looking again, I kind of see him more as like a forced defender box safety. So if you're looking for that kind of player, I would take him over Sankey. That's the name you said.
Sanker. Sanker, yeah.
Sanker, yeah.
It's interesting, yeah, because he's not, he profiles as a free safety, right? If you look at just the numbers and his size and his speed and all the athleticism, you're like, yeah, that's a guy's a free safety. Yeah. But then you watch him and you're like, but that's not what he did, like ever. And maybe he can do it, but like that's just not who he was.
Well, and that's such a tough projection to make because any kind of second level defender, like you're projecting mental traits, and we all know for quarterback how hard that is.
Yeah,
it's hard on defense too. Sometimes it translates, sometimes it doesn't. You don't really know until you throw him in, and you're asking a guy to do something different and asking him to make that mental adjustment at the same time. It's such a wide range of outcomes. You can get anything from a Pro Bowl player to a guy who just can't stay on a roster.
Yeah. So we'll see. All right. I think that's it for that. Let's take a break, and then we're gonna do a live mock draft with Daniel. Are we not?
Yeah, I think that's the plan.
I love it. All right, we'll do a quick ad break, and then we'll go from there. So this ad break, of course, for Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. To pick more or less on at least two players for a shot to win up to $1,000. 1,000 times your cash. 1,000 times your cash, boys and girls. Okay. Listen, it's the best ways. It's the best place to win cash while watching sports. We can join over 10 million people. All right. Now, one of the things I love about Prize Picks, you can mix and match sports. So you want to get in on baseballs coming up soon. You want to get in this week, as a matter of fact. You want to get in on baseball and basketball and hockey and esports. You can do it all with Prize Picks. And they take Venmo, they take Apple Pay, they take MasterCard. You can get your money out within as quick as 15 minutes. All right. So get in on the action. Again, you want to pick Pasternak to score more than a half a goal and, Jason Tatum to score more than 35 points. Do it. Get in on it. All right. And so that's what you're going to do. What are you going to do? Download the app Prize Picks. Put in the promo code CLNS. When you play your first $5 lineup, you're going to get $50 instantly. You do not have to win your lineup. You just have to play it. So again, download the Prize Picks app, put in the promo code CLNS, and you're going to get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game. All right. Whew, here we are with another live mock draft. I love it. And we'll go from there. Daniel, you're going to be the tiebreaker here with all of these.
Okay,
and
that
so
works for me.
We'll mention some guys and talk about some players, and then ultimately you're gonna be the one that makes the decision if we can't agree.
I'm good with that. You guys can help me out with what the Patriots would be looking for a little bit more.
I love it.
Perfect. Yeah. So we're gonna do 7-round mock PFF. We're just keeping this on the default settings for everything. Do we want to do trades in this one, or do we just want to go through quick and do all 7 rounds?
I think we just do all 7 rounds instead of trading.
Yeah. All right. We're gonna jump in here and see if one of the 2 guys we want is going to be on the board.
Of course, we're going to say that both guys are going to be gone. Oh no, never mind.
We had this discussion already.
I
Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, Abdul Carter, the first 3, Travis Hunter. I'm assuming this is the pick, and there's nothing else to say.
Nah, absolutely
not a thing.
Yeah. The Patriots get Travis Hunter at pick 4, next on the clock at 38. Let's see if there's any notable names that went. All right, so Josh Connerly is off the board. Darius Alexander, Nick Amawari, James Pierce. Let's see. Tyler Booker to the Chiefs at 31. How do you feel about that?
Gross. He doesn't even fit what they want to do. That pick makes no sense.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Is this probably Connerly if it's real?
No, for them probably. I don't want that to happen. I don't. I'm tired of the Josh Connerly mold at tackle. I want to see somebody a little bit more like Ursery, but it probably would make more sense if it was that for them.
Yeah. Guys on the board: Demetrius Knight, TJ Sanders, Tyleek Williams. So some defenders right there: Jack Batch, Landon Jackson. Any names as we scroll through that really stand out to you?
No. We're looking for what? Defensive end, defensive tackle, probably.
Well, or an offensive tackle.
Ursery is still on the board here because PFF at 60.
Yeah, PFF hates him. I don't understand it. Let's see, what do we got here? And then back to 69th after this. So
yeah.
How do you guys feel about Ursery at this point? I
mean, I think Ursery makes a ton of sense here. They're obviously not going to like it, but I don't think that really matters. I almost think I don't know how you feel about Maxwell Hairston, but I love Maxwell Hairston. I know they just signed another corner, and they obviously have Gonzo. But I just think, similar to the conversation that we had about the Browns kind of adding on to strength. You just add another player that can play in that spot. And makes it that much stronger.
I'm going to tell you that there are some things about Hairston off-field stuff that is, for whatever reason, not being talked about. But it wouldn't shock me if it came to light over the next month.
Okay. All right. Well, then let's take him off the board here.
Yes.
I'm 100% on board with Ursery. If you feel the same way, Matt.
I like Ursery a lot. I'll entertain the other options here. I think defense, especially defensive line, is definitely a possibility here. Like TJ Sanders, Tyreek Williams, Landon Jackson, Braden Swinson, Princely, Umanamalayan. I still have not gotten that
Malian.
pronunciation.
Uman
Okay,
Milan.
there we go.
Yeah.
Anyone in that group that interests you more than Ursary does?
Not really, specifically when you consider not just the needs, but the needs. The needs of the
Yeah.
offensive line.
Yeah.
Like that's really what it is.
Yeah.
All right,
I
I
will
think
tell
we should-
you, not that we're
Go
going
ahead.
to take him because it doesn't make sense to take him in this situation because we just took Travis Hunter. I think Jack Besh is a guy that like would be perfect for what the Patriots want to do. I think that that's what he wants. That's like the exact type of player that Vrabel is looking for on the field and in the locker room. I think he'd be a great fit for what the Patriots do, but
That sounds fine to me.
Ursary to me is just a way better value here.
Yeah, I agree.
Betch being here for PFF, like he's like, to me, he's a 3rd round pick, and I really like him as a 3rd rounder. But the fact that he's top 40 or whatever it is, then PFF, that doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. All right, let's take Ursary and move on.
There we go. So Ursary, the pick at 38. So the Patriots have 2 picks here in the 3rd, 69 and 77. Shamar Turner, Omar Norman Lott, Ozzy Trapillo, Dylan Sampson, the 4
Dylan
off the
Sampson.
board in the 3rd.
Just
Yeah,
before
Sampson.
we picked.
Yeah, we like that. I think you can kind of go in a lot of different directions here for New England because the top 2 needs are addressed. So I think at this point we're kind of going best player available with, scheme and roster caveats to that. Benjamin Morrison, Josiah Stewart, CJ West, Alfred Collins, Mason Taylor are the top 5 on the board according to PFF. I'll scroll through here. I think Terrence Ferguson is an interesting name. I don't know how you feel about him. I like some of what he does. Vernon Broughton. I haven't watched Vernon Broughton's tape, but I have a friend who's a Texas fan, and he would just text me every single time he made a play. So I have an affinity towards him. Trey Harris.
They also
Jared
have
Wilson's center is a need.
They have Elijah Roberts wicked high as well.
Yeah, they
way
do.
higher than consensus.
Yeah. Jalen
Jalen
Noel.
Noel's fun.
Jalen Royals. No, you like him?
Man. All right, yeah. I mean, do you think they double up at wide receiver this early? Again, we're assuming that Travis Hunter plays wide receiver, right? Like that's
Yeah.
Yeah,
If you're
you
drafting
know,
Travis Hunter, he's playing wide receiver. If you're drafting Travis Hunter at number 4, and I think you play him maybe a little bit at corner too, but you have such a need at wide receiver that you really don't have a choice, other than to play him at wide receiver. And I think if you feel that strongly about a guy like Royals, you have a pick in 8 more picks, right? And I think you can look at defense. You can look at offensive line if you want, maybe a guy like Marcus Embo, maybe, Wyatt Millam, maybe Tate Ratledge, maybe those are the guys that you want, but there's a bunch of them available if you're looking at interior offensive linemen, or even if you're looking at, Jared Wilson at center. I think Jared Wilson's probably still around at 77 if that's what you wanted to take. If you feel strongly about Jalen Royals, I think it makes sense. Double up on wide receiver. It's not like our wide receiver room is that great.
No,
right?
no,
Maybe
definitely.
Jalen Polk all of a sudden becomes good, but like there's not a ton of, NFL caliber wide receivers on our roster. So like,
well, and I have to say the Patriots having too many good receivers is a problem I would like to have. So
I would
fair.
Yes.
That's fair. At this point, I mean, I'll be honest, looking at this board, Alfred Collins is the best player available in my mind. In looking at defensive tackle, I mean, Kairos Tonga is not exactly a great player. He's slotted in as your starting nose tackle, correct?
Yeah.
Depends on the Christian Barmore health situation.
Of course,
so no one exactly.
And even then, you guys know better than me. I like Barmore a lot. Is he a guy that you want playing nose tackle all the time?
Not necessarily, no.
So
I wouldn't mind it, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I'm down with. Listen, like I said, we got to pick an 8 picks here, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure what the value is for you.
Yeah,
guys.
and if the Patriots, value wide receiver, then maybe they'll take a wide receiver. But maybe you look at it and say the D tackle in this situation, if Collins is the best player available, it makes sense to take him here, and then we can take whatever position we want afterwards. I think that makes a ton of sense, and especially where, we've already invested into the defensive line. It's like just keep investing. We see what Philadelphia has done. just with the fact that you just invest into the defensive line as much as you can, and I think that makes a difference.
Is there anyone, we have usually Collins is your best player available. Who's your second best? Is it Royals?
Yeah, it would be Royals and then Benjamin Morrison. Or
Okay.
Mason Taylor too. But I mean, I don't know how you guys feel about drafting a tight end.
See, tight end is something that's interesting to me because, Hunter Henry and Austin Hooper were really good for you last year. I think it's a super solid pairing. They're also both older, and I don't hate the idea of drafting a tight end to say we're going to let him develop for a year or two with these guys. And by year 3, he may have a great connection and he's turned into a really solid pro. So I honestly, I think would lean Mason Taylor over Alfred Collins, but I'm fine with either.
All right. I said you're going to be the tiebreaker, Daniel. Make the pick.
If it's me looking at this, I'm probably taking Collins.
Collins is.
Let's do it. We get to 77. Mason Taylor still on the board. I talked about him. Between Mason Taylor and Terrence Ferguson, they're close on the PFF board. Are they close for you?
No. I actually just started watching Ferguson. I can't stand the way he plays football. I can't stand it.
All right.
Not a fan.
There you go.
I mean, again, whoever likes him, that's fine. I don't see a guy who plays physical at all, and he can't block. And every time I watch him get contacted through the route, it's like he gets completely thrown off, and it bothers me.
Yeah. All right. I'm down.
I don't think Vrabel's going to want a guy like that. I can tell.
I would say not. No, I would say not. I'm down. I'm down with Taylor in the spot. I know Royals, I'm assuming, is probably still on the board.
Yeah.
But we haven't taken, if tight end is the position we want to go with, I think then it makes a ton of sense to go Mason Taylor.
Yeah. Daniel, there is a Mason Taylor Mike Vrabel connection here, by the way. It's Mason Taylor, the son of Jason Taylor. Jason Taylor and Mike Vrabel went through the combine together. So the two of them are like friends.
And Jason, Dolphins legend Jason Taylor, like having to suit up in Patriots gear to cheer on his son, like that does something for me. That does a little something for me. I like
especially that. After all those times he hit Tom Brady.
Yep. Yep.
I like Mason Taylor here. Again, if it's Royals, I think Royals is a good pick too. But definitely offense with this pick.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, let's do Taylor. I think Taylor makes sense. And again, we've already taken a wide receiver, so I think taking a tight end, I think makes sense here.
Yeah. All right, so that's the pick at 77.
I also don't think we've drafted Mason Taylor in any of our drafts yet. So
I'm not sure. Yeah, we might not have. Let's see if there's anyone interesting that went off the board here. So we got to run an offensive lineman in the 90s in this one. Cam Williams, Wyatt Milam, Jonah Salvania, Charles Grant, Jared Wilson, all these guys, Tate Ratledge, Anthony Belton, all coming off the board. Before the Patriots pick, 106, we got Devin Neal here, Harold Fannin, Tez Johnson, Dan Walker, Kyman Rucker, Jeffrey Bossa, Isaiah Bond, Jonas Sanker, Gunnar Helm.
I'm going to get on my Oluwafemi Oladejo stand right now. I don't know if he's a fan, like if he's fit for the Patriots or not, but in terms of how Mike Vrabel describes players, he is a 100% Mike Vrabel fit. He is physical. He plays to the whistle. That guy is just an engine. He never quits. He's always running hot. Like, I love that kind of player. I know maybe defensive end isn't always on the board right now for you guys, but in terms of player fits, there's not a ton that would make a lot more sense than that.
Yeah, the Patriots finished. I believe were we last, or were we second to last in sacks last year? I believe we were second to last.
We were second to last, and only because we had 9 sacks in the Bears game.
Yes,
that's literally
outside of. Yeah, I think outside of the Bears game, we had 18 sacks last season in the other 16 games. Yeah,
it was really
aspirations in need.
Yeah.
You sold me
like
on
that. I like that pick. The chat is mad that we're ignoring them. They feel very, very left out. A few questions about what center looks like and what guard looks like. I think with that big run having gone on in the 90s, I think it makes sense to stay away from offensive line at this point. Yeah. I just don't think it's going to be there. Paperwave says Jackson Slater. Not sure who that is.
Jackson State offensive lineman, I believe.
It's my ignorance.
Okay. Or maybe that's Clay Webb.
I think you're right.
There's a couple of different Sacramento State. He's Sacramento State. When there was a ton of even Carson Vincent, Alabama A&M, there was a ton of these smaller school players that were really showcasing well at the Senior Bowl and at the Combine, and I got a lot of them mixed up. So yeah, Jackson Slater out of Sacramento State's actually a really good player.
Okay.
What position is he?
Where is he on the? He's a tackle. Where is he on the board? Just out of curiosity.
He's a offense. Yeah, he's going to be like probably. I don't even know if he's on their board.
Yeah, I don't even see him.
He is not.
He's tackle. Do they have him at like? Is he going to switch to guard at the NFL?
It might. It's definitely a possibility if he switches.
Unless he's already been. Oh,
There he
right
is.
there.
217.
Yeah, they probably have him
is a
slated
guard.
at guard. So
Okay.
So
Is that someone? Because left guard is still a need for the Patriots. Is that something? I think is he someone you consider taking this high?
that's high. I mean, if you can get away with it on the board, then I mean, no. But you have to. I think the draft is probably going to push these guys down regardless, just because of level of competition and things like that. So I don't necessarily think he's as low as the board here suggests, but I don't think you need to just kind of reach for him here either.
yeah.
Okay.
All right. Let's take the edge.
Yeah.
And then I think it makes sense again to come back to offensive line a little bit later.
Yeah.
And maybe even later than 144, to be honest with you.
Oladeja, the pick at 106. JJ Pegues goes to the Ravens at 129 in this. That is a team fit that makes sense to me with him.
I love him so much.
I'm actually watching him this week, so.
I don't know if he's actually good or not, but I just love the fact that he's a D tackle that can play fullback. I just sign me the hell up for that.
Was it 7-8 rushing touchdowns last year? A ton of fun. All right, 144 guys
Leonard
on the board,
just off the board.
PFF. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt from Arizona, Tyler Batty, Johnny Cornelius, Benjamin Urosek, Jarquez Hunter, Billy Bowman, Khalil Mullings. I'm a big Mullings fan.
I like Mullings a lot.
I think Vrabel would like him.
I do think running back makes a ton of sense here. And Paper Waves asked him about Marcus Yarns. I know it's a guy that the Patriots allegedly were interested in. I don't know if he's actually.
I know he was asking a lot about Marcus Yarns. I think he wants to know what I think about him. So just real quick, I'll go on a Marcus Yarns talk. Obviously, the guy
perhaps a Marcus Yarns yarn, if you will.
Spin some thread for us.
I think when you watched him at the Senior Bowl, you got a really good idea of exactly what he's going to bring. Speed. He's got good hands out of the backfield. He's not going to be the best lateral athlete, so we're talking about a straightaway athlete. If you can open up some holes for him downhill, he's going to just burst. He's not a lead back by any stretch, but if you combine him with Ramondre Stevenson, that kind of 1-2 punch with maybe more of the power, and then he's that lightning element, I think that he makes a lot of sense. I still probably see him later on day 3, but overall, we're talking about a guy who can catch the ball out of the backfield. He does not fumble. I think he's got 2 fumbles on 367 career carries. Like, that's insane. And then you have that ability to just take it at any point, take a crease to the end zone. So I don't hate the James White 2.0 comp there, Paper Waves. I appreciate that.
I love that. So Yarns is an interesting one here. Luke Kandra is someone I think we've talked about on here.
Love that guy.
Guard in general
Super
is going to be a need, especially left guard is a need for the Patriots. Is there anyone in this range that you like? Is Kandra one of them?
I don't know anything about Cantrell, I'll be honest. I'm not going to tell you guys something, blow smoke up your butts because about some players that I haven't watched. But I don't know about. I know we're seeing probably running back is somewhere that people are looking at. Mullings probably doesn't. He probably fits what the kind of player that Vrabel wants, but are they just going to get rid of Stevenson? Like, is he just gone? Is he done? Like he doesn't necessarily fit with, because they're I wouldn't say they're similar players, but there's play style. Mullings obviously a ex linebacker turned running back. He's got really good feel, good footwork. He's not really explosive, but he's more physical. And I think he's not going to fumble the football. So that at least, like, that's the big thing. But
that's an upgrade of Ramondre Stevenson last year.
It's quite true. I'm down with whoever you guys want. If you want to go, offensive line, you want to go running back.
If we're talking running back, Trevor Etienne is on the board here. Do you have any intel on him?
I wasn't a huge fan of ETN specifically. I think he was better at Florida than he was at Georgia. And I think he was better at Senior Bowl than he was at Georgia as well. Maybe he just didn't mesh with the scheme or whatnot at Georgia. But for whatever reason, Georgia brings in good players, and then they just don't know what to do with them, and you don't see them produce like ever. So it's weird. Like it's a whole black hole that happens with talent. But the athletic ability and space, I think obviously the burst as well. The top end speed was a little iffy, like not in terms of would he pull away, but it was inconsistent. Like I felt like sometimes he would, sometimes he wouldn't. It was a little weird to me. But and again, in terms of creating a backfield that is a 1-2 punch, he does make sense.
And then Kyle Williams is a guy that
love.
Yeah, it's really interesting because Chris Sims had him as like his number 2 or 3 overall wide receiver, right? And here he is at 160 on the PFF board.
I think PFF watched him do his little TikTok release at the Senior Bowl and just dropped him off a board. I have a 3rd round grade on Kyle Williams. I love him. I know he's slight. I know he's probably not going to be an X receiver, but I don't care. The thing is, he's giving you a little bit of what Travis Hunter's already giving you. That's the same type of play style. He's slight. Right. He wins with quickness and speed as a route runner, and then he's not the zone player. Like he doesn't find those spots in zone like Travis Hunter does. And he's still electric after the catch, but he's not Travis Hunter after the catch, and he does not have the ball skills.
Right. Which is why he's going in the 5th round as opposed to the 1st round, right? So I don't know. I'm down. I'll defer to you guys if you want to do ETN or you want to go with Mullings or.
You got 2 Michigan guys on here, so I think we might just default to Mullings.
That's fine with me. I mean, I'm good with it. I like Mullings, so
yeah. But I think Vrabel would love him, man.
Yeah, you're probably
especially
right.
Well, and reminder, Stevenson's a guy with all the fumbles last year that like you're not looking to replace him necessarily, but you want to have an option in case this becomes a more than 1 year thing.
Yeah. All right. Let's take a look. I think we take a look at offensive line, and I'm down with if we want to take the kid from Sacramento State at the offense if he's still assuming he's still on the board.
Gone. Yeah, he's gone.
Well, he's a guard, right? Yeah, he's a guard, right?
I have everything.
Right. Yes.
Got it. Okay.
Let's see where he went.
Right there. He went right
Ravens, 210.
Yep. So there you go.
The Ravens. I feel like the Ravens always take the guys I like in the draft.
That makes sense. Even Holland Pierce went the pick before us, which Holland Pierce is going to be a tackle, but still.
Yeah.
Question, because I see the name here, Jay Higgins. I know the Patriots are probably looking for smaller pass coverage linebackers when they're looking for guys. That's what Mike Vrabel has looked for. I know that's the profile on Higgins. How do you think that translates?
I don't know much about him. I haven't watched about him.
He's I watched him a little bit. He's good in coverage, but he's got T-Rex arms and it shows up sometimes.
I hate that. I hate it.
It scares me with linebacker. If you're slight and you don't have arm length,
that's a bad.
That just terrifies me with guards getting to the next level.
Yeah, that's fair.
Clay
Webb's not a bad spot here. Again, I think you might some off-field stuff going back a little bit, but I think he's been fine lately, and he was actually pretty good at the Senior Bowl too. So that's not a bad spot there.
The left guard or right guard?
I think he can play either, but I think he played best at left, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's where he's played for them. I mean, left guard is the need for New England. If you like him as a player, that totally works for me.
Yeah, that's fair. I'll just go down a little bit just to see, because there's a lot of names that I'm not familiar with. So, granted, I like Carson Vincent too. You might be able to play him at guard. Very athletic guy. He played left tackle, I believe, for Alabama A&M, and I think, let me see real quick where he measured in. You can't trust any of that nonsense you read over there.
Yeah.
This would be a perfect time. Yeah. So, he's 6'7". So he's 6'7", 34-inch arms. So he might profile better at tackle. But again, good athlete. He actually moved really well at the Senior Bowl and during his combine showcase. So that's just a player that I like. overall.
Two centers on the board here, which is also kind of a need, I think. Drew Kendall from Boston College, got the Bill O'Brien connection there, and then Cooper Mays. I haven't watched, but I have heard good things. Have you gotten either of these guys?
I haven't, unfortunately, no.
No. I know Mays. I totally forget who was the one asking the questions now. It might have been Evan Lazar for Patriots.com. Whoever it was asking all the SEC defensive linemen, which offensive lineman, played you the toughest.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of Will Campbell in there. But there was one Cooper Mays, which I thought was very interesting.
You also, I mean, since I've watched a little bit of Webb, I think you might be able to get him to play center. Like, you might be able to. Like, that's, and I know that's just projection again. Like, he played guard. Can he play center? Possibly. But when you're down this far on the board, there's going to be some players that none of us know. And I see the vision with Webb if he's not going to have those red flags, and that's stuff we're not always privy to. But that's just me.
I'm down for Webb then.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. It's fine by me.
Webb the pick at 217. We still got two more picks, 220, and then down the board at 238. Let's see if there's anyone. I could just scroll through this, and if there's anyone that catches your eye that's interesting.
Who you guys? What positions would you be looking at right here with these last two picks?
So
I think it's just kind of best player available to me at this point with the state of the roster.
Yeah, and you could argue maybe defensive secondary because of the fact that he'll probably also be playing special teams, similar to what they did in the 7th round last year. With the hell's the kid's name? Marcel Style, right? Yeah. So, maybe you could make an argument about something like that, but I wouldn't hate another offensive player or two, like a wide receiver or even another offensive lineman, depending on, what's available there.
I wish Kyron Lacey didn't have off-field stuff, man.
I know.
So sad. Oh, that's tough.
I know Smail Mondin is a guy that I kind of like in this range. Ty Robinson we've taken before.
Yeah. Smail Mondin's fun. Like he's like a legitimate coverage backer. I think that this is really low for him personally, but I'm with that.
Yeah. You got a whole bunch of these Colorado wide receivers down here too.
LeJontay Webster is interesting. Again, probably a pure slot guy, but dude is explosive. Like he's got that, and he caught some crazy 50-50 balls from Shador too. So like there's talent there. If you want to pair him with his buddy Travis Hunter, I'm sure he wouldn't mind that at all.
Listen, I would be down with either the linebacker here or the wide receiver. I'm down with either of those guys. Whichever we want to go.
Mac McWilliams is fun too.
Yep, that's a guy that we've talked about but never drafted.
Tommy Hill's one of my guys, but that's
okay. Talk about Tommy Hill then, because that's a name we don't necessarily know on here.
Tommy Hill, big, long corner. He's physical. If you go back and watch any game of his, the one you should watch is the Colorado game. He was incredible. Like he was man zone coverage versatile. I thought he played physically through the stem well. Again, I have a 3rd round grade on him, and then he did not show well at the Senior Bowl. He had a foot injury, and he played through it most of the back half of the season. I don't think he was fully healthy at the Senior Bowl, and he really showed. So, I mean, he's probably best right now when he's not fully healthy as a low red zone physical corner number 2, but he's definitely an outside guy. If he's fully healthy, I mean, I have a 3rd round grade on him for a reason. I think the football IQ is all there too. So,
all right. I mean, I hear physical. I hear willing to play through injury. These sound like Mike Vrabel traits to me.
I'm down with that. People are asking about, Aubrey Burks. People are asking about someone mentioned Ty Robinson. We already talked about Ty Robinson. Kicker, potentially.
Oh, yeah.
Luke Lachey, someone was asking about.
I don't watch kickers.
Okay. The Miami guy had a good.
The Miami guy had what, a
65-yard field goal. Yeah,
outrageous.
That's pretty nice.
Let's draft that guy. What the hell? No, listen. I'm down for. If you want to go, I think we go. Let's just go Tommy Hill. I'm cool with that.
Yeah. I think you sold us there on him. if he's still going to be on the board.
Aubrey Burks,
Yeah.
by the way, I did see on board safety from West Virginia.
Okay.
Oh, the guy I like here, and I don't know if I assume he's already gone. Although maybe he isn't. If you check wide receiver, I bet you he's already gone. Is Tesla or Tesla? I don't know
Oh,
how to
yeah,
pronounce that.
Tesla. Yeah, he's fun, man. He's like a
fun.
power slot. I
Yeah.
like him.
See,
But I bet
he went a while. I think he's
I
been
bet
off
he's
the
already
board for a
gone.
bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, his stock is rising right now.
Yes, it is.
It is. It is. I don't really know why. Like he's a good player, but I mean, he's a day 3 solid contributor.
Yeah.
Right.
He tested well. I think that's a big part of it.
Someone mentioned Jason Marshall.
I liked Marshall coming into the year, actually. A lot of talent, but that Florida defense is not good. And I think he's not necessarily learning the system very well. It doesn't feel like their talent's translating to the cornerback position right now at Florida. I don't know why. I watched 2 Florida corners coming into the season. They both had lots of raw talent and speed, physicality, but they just didn't seem like they knew where to be in the defense, which isn't a great situation to be in. But
Yeah.
I graded Marshall with a 3rd or a 4th round grade coming into the season, but it's been tough to watch Florida's defense. It's been so bad.
Okay. And then Andres Borregales. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I don't got that one. I don't have that one.
There you go. No idea.
Let me see. I'm curious who the other kickers are now, by the way.
There you go.
I don't even know
Find
who's
those kickers.
available. Ryan Fitzgerald.
Oh, that's the kicker from Miami.
Kicker
That's
from
my bad.
Miami, yeah.
Andres Borregales. Ben Sauls, I know. Alex Barth, Patriots reporter, loves just because you can say better call Sauls when you're in football range.
outrageous.
Like
What
games on the
what a
line,
terrible
better
reason
call
to draft a kicker,
Sauls.
but what the hell, you know? We can draft the kicker, or we can draft. I'd be down with Wester.
Let's do something. Okay, so Wester, LeJontay Wester, we talked about.
Yeah.
Will Shepard, the other Colorado wide receiver here.
Just all the Colorado wide
Pick
receivers.
all the Colorado wide
Yes.
receivers.
It's funny because you have like the best prospect in the draft, and you go to round 7, and there's 3 wide receivers from the same team all bunched together. Why are these guys here? Like I haven't watched the other ones.
Just draft the kicker. Just do it. Just do it.
Look at it. Jalen Walker's on the board. I mean, it's the other Jalen Walker, but like still,
yeah.
and maybe he'll be good too. You never know.
All right, let's go Borregales. He had a nice kick today. We can reward
65-yarder.
I like it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Love it.
So let's see what grade we get for
They
this.
hate
draft. B
Ursa,
minus.
man. They
Man,
hate Ursa.
That's insane. A D at 38? That's wild.
That's crazy.
He's going to go in the first round. He's getting drafted in the first round. That's wild
nuts.
to me.
I always crop these out when I post them on Twitter because I really could care less what their grades are.
So yeah, that's the final. To recap it, Travis Hunter at 4, Ursary at 38, Alfred Collins at 69, Mason Taylor at 77, Oladejo at 106, Mullings at 144, Clay Webb at 217, Tommy Hill at 220, and Andres Borregales at 238. Clay Webb sounds like a senator from South Carolina.
You're right. You're very right about that. Make sure you take a screenshot of this one, Matt. Don't close it out.
Yes, I've lost our last one, so I'll make sure to tweet this one out. I think that's basically it for what we got.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah, thanks, man, for coming on. This has been a ton of fun. I know you're a Chiefs guy, but that's okay. That's all right. We like you anyways, and you do such a good job, man, with the Draft Network and the reports that you guys write up, and just the fact that you guys get so in depth with all the players, and it's really helpful for someone like me who I follow the draft and I like the draft, but I'm not a draft expert by any means, right? I'm not. Even Matt's grinding film way more than I'm grinding film. That's not me. And so I love, it's really helpful for me to kind of go through and see those, and listen, anyone can write a scouting report, but you guys are writing actual, good scouting reports and, reports that I think matter and make a difference. So I appreciate that.
Well, I do. I appreciate that. That one of the things that I try to pride myself on is that I'm not going to have the same opinion as everyone else. But if I have an opinion, you're going to know what it is, right? You're going to know exactly what it is. So if I write up a report, I'm going to tell you what I see. I love teaching this. That's what I do with my film rooms. I'm the only person on the TDN staff that does the film rooms every week. I like doing those. I like trying to explain what I see and learn as the process goes. So the fact that you're not the first person that's told me about the how the reports are in depth and how they learn and see things like that from it. So I do appreciate that a lot.
Yeah.
But by the way, you've got what do you call it? One of our friends, Murph, is commenting in the chat. I don't know if this is a compliment or not, but he says that Dan looks like an underfed Gronkowski. So take that in whatever direction you will.
It's funny that it's underfed because I'm 260 pounds. Like, I am not a small person. But that's not the first time that I've heard that, and it won't be the last I heard.
I like that. Underfed Gronkowski. I mean, still 260 pounds. You're still maybe not quite the size of Gronkowski.
Oh, definitely
anyways.
not. Absolutely not.
No, that's cool.
Would that make you the smallest Gronkowski brother?
Maybe when they were playing, maybe not so much now.
Yeah. They've slimmed down quite a bit, I would think. So
Gronk is listed at 265.
By the way, speaking of slim down, I was at a really cool event, a really cool Patriots event, a draft event yesterday, where I got this hat, $10. $10 for that. Pretty sweet.
Good.
Actually, fun fact: the PNN logo was inspired partially because of this. We have the little stripes coming out the PNN logo, just like this one does. So, anyways, David Andrews was there filming a live podcast, and it's pretty cool. There was Field Yates was there, and Mike Reese was there, and Karen Garesian was there, and the McCourtys are both there, and Elliot Wolf and Ashton Grant, Assumption Greyhound. But nevertheless, David Andrews, I know he's not the biggest guy anyways.
Mm-hmm.
It looked like he lost at least 30 to 40 pounds. Like he looked skinny, like skinny. I was like, there's no way this guy's playing. There's no way he's playing football this year. There's just no way. He's just this, like the size of him. I was like, Dan Copen looked bigger than Copen was there. Dan Copen looked bigger than he did. And Copen slimmed down a ton after his playing days. I was like, there's physically, the size just isn't there. And so, I don't know. I thought that was really interesting for me. He hasn't announced anything, of course, but like the fact that he's in the Patriots facility interviewing Elliot Wolf, like having guys on and being part of the Patriots media just feels like he's not going anywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That'd be weird if he signed with a team at this point.
I think so too. Yeah, I think so too. But nevertheless, anyways, Daniel, tell everyone where they can see you and read you and subscribe to your YouTube channel, and so they can get to those film sessions, and learn a little bit more about all these draft guys.
Well, I appreciate that. I have been dropping film reviews on the TDN YouTube page every single week, and now that we are into the thick of last month left, they are dropping some of the premium ones that I did for the subscribers, and so there's like 3 of them that released from last week. I think they put the Will Campbell one and the Emory Jones. There's Jalen Royals. There's tons of them. You can go find those there. You can find me on Twitter at InHarmsWay19. And if you're ever interested, I know you're never going to be, but that's okay, in Chiefs content, I do weekly film reviews there as well, with more draft content as the offseason unfolds. It's rgrfootball.com, and Q&As every single Monday there as well. That's just inclusively all my content.
What do you think they should do? Where do you think they should go in the draft?
They should draft Josh Simmons. If he's there at 31, they should draft Josh Simmons. If not, they should draft a defensive tackle. And they should probably trade up for one if they can.
There you go.
And one last question, since you break down the film, scale of 1 to 10, how excited should the Patriots be for Milton Williams?
Extremely. I love Milton Williams, and obviously I watched him destroy the Chiefs front, for offensive line. I watched it happen. So yeah, it was not fun, but you guys are gonna have fun.
Yeah, Andrews was talking about that. They did a joint practice at the beginning of the year and just got absolutely obliterated by the Eagles defensive line. And he was like, everyone's talking about these pass rushers, And Milton Williams was like, this dude's a problem. Like we just couldn't block him. And so, it's the way it is. Also, I got to give a shout out to my dad because your Twitter handle is perhaps his favorite movie of all time. I don't know if you've ever seen it or not. John Wayne and Kirk Douglas, In Harm's Way. It's a World War II battleship movie. So I've seen it. I've seen it in an obscene amount of times because he would watch it all the time. It's a black and white. Is it black and white? Might not be black and white, but nevertheless, it's a World War II battleship movie. That's pretty good. It's pretty good. So
Cool.
The Duke, John Wayne with Kirk Douglas. So
that's awesome. I've never seen it, but yeah, that's cool.
So there you go. So a little something to put on your something to put on the watch list. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So, but anyways, well, thank you, Dan, for joining us. We really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun. And listen, I know he's a Chiefs fan. That's okay. We still love our football people, even if they're Chiefs fans. But do such a great job with everything you do. We appreciate it, and thanks so much for coming on.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having me. I really do appreciate that.
All right. Have a great night. Be good to each other, and go Pats.